Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Today I want to talk to you about friendships. How many friends do you have right now? And the number isn't important as much as the quality of the friendship, of course. And I want to talk to you though about as we get older, there sometimes comes a time in situations where we have to break off a friendship, where a friendship is no longer a positive thing for us or for them. And I think this is a delicate subject, and I know that a lot of people go through different points in their lives where friendships where the paths diverge. Because, for example, when you're a parent, if you're raising children or you're in a career, your friendships are circled around that context. The context of your children, what they do, and how you spend time with other parents. And then it's your co-workers, and many people marry people that they meet in the workplace. That's always a sort of a catalyst for friendship that leads to something else. But friendships can come into your life at certain points. Or I should have even gone back further. There's the friendships that you make when you're a child. Those friendships are the ones where they're like your buddies for life. You just think they're never going to end. You just would you'd be lost without them. But then they move. You move, they go to a different school, something happens, and you find that you're just not friends with them anymore. Many people though, and I know in our 16Me community, have kept in touch with their childhood friends. Some have even married their childhood friends. So it's not like I'm saying it has to be that way. That's not how it has to be. But there's I was talking about the milestones of friendships where they come into our lives. They align with us, like they align with our passions, our likes, our even school. I should have mentioned college. That's a whole transition where we're getting together with people just because they're so similar in their interest to having fun or reading or whatever. The things that hook us together. But those things that connect us when we're children, when we're in school, when we're in college or working or as parents, those can change as we move into our 60s. And one of our bloggers, Julia Hubble, wrote this article. I love Julia's articles, actually. If you actually have a chance to look in our 60andMe website, take a look at some of her articles because they're really, really thoughtful and well written. And she had recently had to give up a friendship, letting go, she calls it, letting go and moving on. Lessons learned from ending a long-term friendship is the title of this article. I'll leave the link in the video under the video. But she says that this happened and it was very painful. That it was one of those things that she wanted to write about because she felt that it was something that others go through. And I think that she's talking about a long-term relationship here, a long-term friendship, but it doesn't really have to be like 20 years. It can be, just a friendship you made in this town that you've moved into or this local place. But the point here is that how do you know that it's not a good relationship anymore? Well, Julie goes into her own personal feelings about this, and I think I can relate. To be honest with you, and this is the truth, I have not actually given up on many friendships in my life. I still keep in touch with most of the people that that remember me and that are close. There's people that have broken up with me, and some of them are people that probably for them my friendship or my presence in their life was not useful. I can think of, for example, of a very early boyfriend who we kept in touch for years and years and years and years, and he really was a true love and a wonderful person. But as he's now moved on, because he married, he's divorced, and he's got a child, and it's like we don't keep in touch much at all. And so that was a deep friendship that is now really a Facebook friend. That's it. But there are other friendships where because the context changed as parents or whatever, but there are some that are just diluted. I guess that's the word I would use to say diluted. They're still strong if you go back and remember what the memory was. And that's actually one thing that Julia talks about, remembering the memories and kind of separating that from the current situation. But anyway, I think she says that the first thing is that you don't feel like you're on the same wavelength anymore. Now, we've talked about this topic of political and economic and the dynamic in the world right now where things are being pushed to the extremes and people are sometimes feeling the need to go to the one side or the other side and stay there and not come back to the middle where your friendship was. So I think that's one thing that's really important. But the question then becomes, as Julia talks about, can you live with those changes? Is their new belief system or their actions or their whatever more hazardous or difficult or not aligned than actually accepting that and keeping the friendship. Where does the alliance or the changes in the friendship stay strong enough to make it a friendship, and when is it strong enough to break? The forks in the road. This is Julia talks about the forks in the road that appear. They often happen around relationships or job changes or moving, where mutual respect, is important for navigating those changes. And if that's not abided by, if that's not followed, then the differences become too intense, and it can lead to arguments. It leads to heartache. It leads to disagreements. Like, you just know this is not working. It's not. I'm not that person. I don't like what that person believes in anymore. I don't understand it. I think it's hurtful. I think whatever. You know the stories I'm trying to say here, that you just know it's not working anymore. It's not a good situation. And I think that one thing that's very true that Julia talks about is that this can sometimes be as powerful as losing a close family member, in beliefs. And I get too personal, but there are some situations in my own life where that is the case. I still love them, I still respect them, but we become so different in our beliefs that it's just not going to work. So ending things in person is really, really hard. And that's why people do, like, I'm divorcing you, or by text message. I mean, it's crazy. I'm just doing my light here. It's a little bit dark. It's a funny day today. The sun is shining in my window, but it's dark. And I don't know why. Maybe it's the backdrop. I normally have my bookcase here, and I didn't put it up today, so that could be why. But anywho, I'm just apologizing for the light. But anyway, she says that the noticing behaviors, and then just, I think it's called ghosting. Is that the expression now? But it's not. This is not so much what she's talking about, but it's that time when you just don't even want to talk about it. Like, you just, okay, I'm just going to say, this is not working, goodbye. And while so many relationships and things like that are ended with a text message or an email, and it's just because it's painful, because, rejection for the situation I described is painful. It's kind of hurtful because you just remember all the amazing things that you shared. And also, if you're trying to break away from someone that loved you or that you used to love very dearly, and it's now not just you can call it a toxic relationship or a broken relationship. You just have to say goodbye, and doing it in person, I think, is really, really hard. So Julia does talk about walking away lovingly, and she says if the joy is gone and the friendship has become stressful, you acknowledge the need to move on. Not all friendships can be salvaged. Not all friendships can be reborn. Some can. I think if you sit down, and this is where, like, you couldn't very well do this in email, because it takes looking at people in the eyes and saying, okay, you do this, you feel this, you've said that, I say the opposite, or I feel the opposite, I don't feel like we're tuned anymore. Is there any way we can make this work? I mean, is there something that I can do differently, or that you can do differently, or that we can make this relationship work? So I think the thing is that we may want to cut it off really sharply, but don't, and as I mentioned earlier, don't just throw away the goodness of it. Because sometimes 20, 30 years, even in you could even apply this to a marriage. This could even be leading to a divorce or a separation, is that, you don't want to throw out the good memories with the immediate situation, which is clearly saying this is not working anymore. But, as Julia mentions, and I think this is the most important thing to close on, is that it can be emotionally beneficial. It can be a catalyst for, like, something brand new, for a new life, for new friendships, new relationships. You've changed. Your friend has changed. Let it go. Just let it go. And maybe for years you won't talk. Maybe for years you won't connect. And then they may come back and say, you were showing me something about myself that I didn't see, and I've changed a bit, and I would love to get back together with you. Actually, that literally just happened to me. I just remembered it, and it wasn't quite as I've described it. This was not like a toxic relationship that ended. It was a person who I knew when I was working at Microsoft, and she was having difficulties with her son and her husband, and we just decided that it was just too complicated, and I couldn't take sides. It was just too difficult, and we fell apart. And then just like literally 2 weeks ago, hi, this is, I won't say her name, but I wondered if you want to connect again. And to be honest, I'm not sure I do. I'm being really, really honest, but because I think that I need to understand what's going on. And I sent her a note back, and we're talking. But it's really challenging. It's hard. It can be really heartbreaking. So if you've gone through a situation where it could be a divorce, it could be just a friendship ending, a close friendship, cherish the memories, honor what you had, and move forward to make new friendships, new connections. They're out there waiting for you. Don't deny them because you feel like you failed at this relationship, this friendship, and it will never work. It will. Those are the 3 things I suggest you do. So thank you, Julia, for the article. Thank you for your thoughts on this. I would welcome your feedback. Have you ever had to give up a long-term friendship? And how did it go? What did you do? What was your approach? Take good care, everybody. Thank you for being here. If you liked the video, please give it a like so that we can spread the word to more women around the world. 16 is all about that. And know that you are appreciated and respected and loved here. And take care. Lots and lots of love. Bye for now.